Working?
Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on down, honey. Welcome everyone to Lunch and Learn After Dark. It's part of us all getting together, meeting up as a community and enjoying one another and all that we have to share. We are just making simple changes for better health and also for better quality of life. And tonight is teacher edition. So it's very exciting. And we're excited to have you here. So if you didn't hear Doug, go ahead and put in the chat whether you've been a teacher, whether you're currently a teacher, if you have never been on here before, maybe who invited you, that'd be awesome to know. We like to keep it interactive and conversational. So let's do that. Welcome, welcome. Great to see everyone. I see people from Pennsylvania, from Atlanta. Hello to you guys. To New Mexico. I know Gwen. She's like New Mexico. Claudia's in Houston. She's got the skyline behind her. Jules is over here near Jacksonville with us. Yay. Hi, Faye and Andrea and V Faith. I'm not sure who those are. And Carol, welcome, welcome. And Julie's in Boca Raton. Yay. Glad you guys are here. And we'll be expecting some more people as we go. And I know that if you're watching on replay in our team group, then go ahead and hop on Zoom. It's much better experience. But if you're watching later, right, replay, we'd love to know who's watching the replay. All right, I love this. Okay, so for the people who are watching replay or on Facebook. Okay, so Gwen says this is dinner and learn.
That's true.
Making dinner there now. That's awesome. And Jennifer says teaching third grade in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Allentown.
Yay, there's
how cool is it to have a song by Billy Joel about where you live?
Yeah, really.
That is awesome.
And then Claudia teaches Spanish online and homeschools her son. I think a lot of people are homeschooling nowadays. Julie has been a teacher for 13 years and still teaches, but not at a school. I'm going to add aerobics teacher also and spinning. Melissa says, Jen's my sister. My husband's also a teacher. He teaches music at a high school. That's what you did. And they're in Bethlehem. And then Nanette, I love this because I didn't know all this. I used to be an assistant and substitute teacher for elementary and a Pilates teacher now. Awesome. Yeah, I used to be a substitute teacher also and a guidance counselor. Cool. That's great. What a crowd.
You can leave that up in
Okay.
kind of a way. I guess it's a lunch and learn, or it's after dark. We're going to go ahead and get started. And
a lunch lady. Awesome.
Oh, a lunch lady.
I was
Oh my gosh.
inviting my sister too.
My grandma was a
Yeah.
lunch lady, and Sharon's sister's a lunch lady.
She's in charge of all of them. Yeah.
You know, me and Joel Herbst went to high school together, and we loved our lunch lady. What was her? Marge. We loved Marge. You know, Marge would give us 2 pieces of pizza sometimes, Julie, and that was part of the beginning of the problems that we have. So, yeah, what are you gonna do? We loved Marge, though.
Jennifer feels bad for the lunch ladies. That's a tough job. I think being a teacher is a tough job, Jennifer.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, we're glad to have you guys on. We know we're excited for you guys watching the replay. Like Sharon said, put hashtag replay in there. We're going to do this another lunch and learn next Wednesday night again. So some of you guys might see this and say, oh, that was kind of cool. I didn't really know what the heck this was going to be. Maybe you'll want to, remind one of your buddies in the business to come on. Maybe you'll, maybe you have a teacher in your life that you want to come on and hear what we're talking about, because we are going to have partners and some guests on here tonight. So we're going to keep that in mind, but I want to start off just
maybe we should tell them why it's called a lunch and learn. Usually it's during lunch. Okay. Just so you know, and it became so popular. We didn't want to change the name of it, throw anybody off. So it's lunch and learn after dark. And this is the teacher edition.
Yes, it is the teacher
In case
edition.
they're wondering.
Well, we had a lot of people that couldn't make it to the daytime one, so we started doing some at night, and it's kind of a new thing. But school's out, And you know what? In planning this, I was all excited, and I was thinking, how do we play the schools out for summer song and celebrate teachers and cheer? And I don't know if I was going to dress up like a clown or something. I don't know, something to celebrate you guys. But in the wake of the tragedy yesterday, it kind of changes the tone a little bit, and I know our hearts are heavy. In fact, Julie and Sharon and I and Joel Herbst, we all worked together at Stoneman Douglas High School, where that a similar tragedy happened in 2018. We weren't there at the time, but we're still connected to that community, and we lived in that community still. So it was very tough, and this kind of like triggers a lot of stuff for us too. But it's so instead of like celebrating, I just want to say that you guys we know it's a hard week for you guys as teachers. It's a hard week for parents. It's a hard week for kids. Kids don't talk about stuff. Maybe even some elementary age kids don't even know what happened. But older kids do. So we have a student in high school, and they're aware of what's going on in the world and the threats and the stress that it creates. And just having fear going to school is the opposite of what many of us felt when we were young going to school. That was a safe place. That was a good place, So we want to let you guys know, teachers, that our hearts break for you, especially, of course, for the families of those affected in Texas. Teachers and for your kids and for everybody that's struggling with this, our hearts go out to you, and we stand with you guys. But teachers, you guys are heroes, instead of celebrating the end of the school year, I want to celebrate you guys still, that you guys are heroes. What you do every day, really, society needs you, kids need you, parents need you. And it's just amazing what you do. And it's a shame that you have to do it in an environment that you have to do it in now, with this kind of a senseless thing happening. But even more so, you guys are heroes, and the world needs you guys. So thank you for what you guys do. All right, so what we're going to talk about tonight, some goals I have for this. I want to honor you guys as teachers. I want to give vision for the Juice Plus virtual franchise and what that looks like. Because we have a wide range of people. We have people that do this business full time as a business, and like Sharon and I, this is all we do. But we have other people that just kind of have their own order and maybe a couple more orders. But maybe they're thinking like, well, I don't know, what is this thing really? There's some of you that have been partners with us for a while that don't even really understand completely, what this really is and what it could do for you. So we want to give you guys some vision and some inspiration, but also give you some practical next steps. So we have some people with experience on here that are going to share. All right. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing. A second grade teacher in Newark, New Jersey. Whoop, whoop. That is awesome. Yes, if you're a teacher and you come on, and anybody helping out with the chat, when you see somebody new come on, remind them every once in a while to put that in the chat. But we're going to give some next steps, and hopefully this will give you some vision and some excitement and some things to do this summer, thinking about how could you build this into something that maybe is a little more significant for you. So as a Juice Plus partner, there's different roles you could play. Like I said, we have the type of person, maybe you're more of like a solidified customer. Maybe you love the products. That's why you joined. You have your own orders and maybe one other order, and that's cool. That's a cool role. It reduces your costs for eating Juice Plus, and that's really cool. There's other people that have like this as a side hustle. And the cool thing about that is, I was thinking about retirement the other day. I used to be, I'm still in the Florida retirement system. I have 15 years in as a teacher. So I'm gonna have a smaller retirement. But even if I went all the way, those of you guys that are in education or any field, when you're thinking about your retirement, let's say you work your whole career and you retire and you've waited, here it is, this is my moment. Well, you finish up, you have all this free time on your hands, but your income gets cut basically in half. So it's kind of weird that, it's great to be retired, but at very time when you have more time on your hands, you have less money in your budget. So Juice Plus is a great way to just like have another stream of income. So now when you have your retirement check, you also have this other income coming in, and that could be really significant for you. But there's that third kind of distributor or partner that really approaches this like a business and kind of works, they have their own side business. And I know a lot of teachers that do this. They're a teacher, but they also have this thing they do, right? Well, if you keep building that over time, eventually that plan B can become a plan A. And that's really important because I didn't really expect it. I never thought when we were doing a business together that this is going to turn into what it was. But Sharon and I have been able to make this the only income in the house. I'm able to be at home and fully present with the kids, with the family, with her. I think I'm around too much for her, honestly, most of the time. So, but that's okay. And, you can take this slow, you can take it fast. And there's a million different ways. Everybody has a unique journey, but I want to give you guys some other stories so you can hear about other people and maybe something will resonate with you, with them. So I'm going to bring on, I'm looking, and there she is on the upper left of my screen. She is just one of my current favorite teachers in the world, and it's Jennifer Judd. And she is a teacher. I'll let her tell her own story, but I'm going to kind of interview her a little bit and pull out some great details about her. So Jennifer, tell us about yourself, where you teach and what you teach and things like that.
I teach third grade in Salisbury Township School District, which is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I believe this is my 23rd year that I'm going to be completing. And I've taught all of the primary grades. Each grade has its own uniqueness that I loved. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. Third grade, they were a little more independent. Most recently, it's obviously become very, very difficult. The year of the pandemic was hard. The following year, we were online for 100 days, came back to school for 80 days. That year was harder than the spring of 2020. And this year is no more easier. We're in school face to face. We started out 5 feet apart. Now we're 3 feet apart. But the kids really have missed a lot. So imagine some of these kids haven't been in school since first grade, literally, because some of them chose to stay online. And like, I'm just going to say, like that little meme, the struggle is real. It's hard.
Wow. I feel kind of insensitive. I know the tragedy in Texas kind of overshadows everything right now, but the other tragedy has been the pandemic and how hard it's been on you. I know a lot of teachers are really tired. And my friends, I'm actually at the age right now where all my friends that I started with are now they're at the end of their drop period, extending their teaching, and now they're retiring. And they all have like these countdowns, like 13 days, 12 days, 11 days. It's like they are so ready. And these are band directors, we're usually the ones that are kind of like, we get to just have fun with our students all the time. So, wow, that's
well, I'm
really
at
hard.
7 days.
What's that?
I'm at 7 days.
Wow, 7 days. Yeah, but this isn't retirement year for you.
Oh, no.
You're getting close though.
Maybe.
Seven more years,
Maybe.
Jennifer?
Well, really, it would be more than 7, but my new goal might be to retire earlier than my allotted time.
Well, let's rewind a little bit and tell us like when you heard about Juice Plus and what made sense about Juice Plus, the product for you.
So I believe that's my mom, Carol, on our call in the black there. She never has her
We
picture
love your
on.
mom. She's always on.
I love Carol.
Very supportive.
Hi, Carol.
So I better say that when we were growing up, she always led us to make healthy decisions. So we were always having healthy dinners, always fruit and vegetable at every meal, including breakfast. We were always very active, involved in sports. I would go to aerobics with her. So it just seemed natural for me to continue that into my adulthood when I had a family. And then I heard about Juice Plus, and I thought that really just fits in to my lifestyle. So I started on the fruit, veggie, and berry blend. And, when I started taking it consistently, you feel this sustained energy throughout the whole day. So being a teacher, this was awesome because I no longer had that afternoon sluggish feeling. And I was able to make it through the whole day, wasn't going to my neighbor teacher to ask for a cup of coffee. And then I started to eat a little differently. And, this community has events all the time. You're constantly learning. So I found out about this salad in a jar and was having salad parties. So now, instead of having lunch meat sandwiches and my healthy lean pockets, now I was making salad in a jar. So again, something else I learned was more the importance of meal prep. So now my husband and I will prep our salads on a Sunday for the entire week. So as a teacher, you don't have a lot of extra time. And as a mom of 2 busy kids, you don't have a lot of extra time. So I'm at school doing schoolwork. Of course, I bring schoolwork home. We're making dinner, cleaning up, going to sports. So the last thing I want to do is be making lunches. So in the morning, I just grab my salad in the jar, throw it in my lunch bag, and I'm good to go. And of course, I had a great experience with my allergies. I no longer take any over-the-counter or prescription medicine. So that's been awesome.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. But at some point you decided you were going to become a partner. And so what got you excited, or what made sense for you to start sharing Juice Plus?
Well, my friend asked me if I would be interested in becoming a partner. And I said no. And she said, well, you could save money on your product. And I mean, who doesn't want to save money? Because let's be honest, my teacher salary is not lighting the world on fire. So I thought, if I could make a little money back and help pay for my product, let's do this. So very quickly, I got 2 partners and made it to Partner Plus, and I was paying for my fruit, veggie, and berry blend. Then I was making a little bit of extra money for things that I normally wouldn't spend money on regularly, like getting a manicure. Because at that time, it just wasn't in a budget for me to kind of waste money on that when I could paint my own nails. Then I was able to pay for my car payment. But it made sense to me because, well, teaching is what I do. I care about people, and I really do thrive on motivating and inspiring others. And so as I am here in this community with all these awesome people, learning so much and plugging into events, plugging into lunch and learns, it just comes more and more natural that you would want to share with everyone that you encounter.
That's awesome. So what I'm hearing is that you basically you're using the products, you're kind of beyond using the products, you're plugged in with the community, and you're doing things like salad in a jars or smoothies or whatever, and you're using it. Now I have to mention too that you've really like when you meet her, she's petite, but she's like ripped. Like she's got guns that'll rip your head off, okay? But on some of your Facebook photos, from just a couple years ago, I mean, you've really leaned out in the last couple years. Has Juice Plus played a part in all that as far as getting healthier and more fit?
Well, I've always exercised, but I think, yes, 100%. And Melissa and I just had this conversation. So I've only done the Shred 10 a couple of times. Like, in the beginning, I only did what I could. And then like the second time I did it, I did a little bit more. And, same with the third time, I did a little more. But when I was just recently talking to Melissa, I realized that like I'm not really eating a lot of carbs. Like maybe there's carbs in my granola. So I even switched my cereal. So from doing the Shred 10, I've actually been able to maintain some of those healthy habits. I no longer drink milk. I use almond milk all the time in my cereal and of course in my smoothies. But I think it has to be that. It has, I do the shakes, I do the fruit, veggie, and berry blend, but making these small changes that I've learned from the Shred and maintaining those, I think has really helped me.
That's a great answer. And I thank you for plugging the Shred, because everybody, we're starting to shred. We're doing one on June 6th.
Yes.
And we're going to get into the rhythm of just every month, at the beginning of the month, we take 10 days to kind of reset. Not that we're going to go crazy the rest of the month, but we're going to make this part of our cycle. And this is just adopting more of the system that Shelly Mackey, a very successful person in the Juice Plus world, uses. Her system always includes the Shred. So we're going to start doing that. So I think we're going to see, hopefully I'm going to get as lean as you are. So that's my goal.
And as buff.
And buff. Get some guns.
So Michelle says you rock, Jennifer, which I agree. I love how passionate you are and how you're bringing your caring and servant-hearted part to our business. And then Gwen says, I live the Shred. It's her lifestyle. So the Shred is really a lifestyle, some changes. And a lot of you are familiar with that. But if you're not familiar, get with the person who invited you and you'll find out more. So we want to also ask you, what's your vision for the business? What do you hope the vision or the business could bring to you, as you continue to build it, as you continue to share and people want to join your team and you're helping them? It's just natural that it's going to continue to grow.
So my first goal would be to get more team to spread the wealth, spread the health, continue to inspire others. Always trying to continue to get customers, but to get those team members. I do need to work on disciplining my disappointment, because sometimes when I get so invested and I get so excited, because I could see this person and they would be perfect to be on my team and they're not seeing what I'm seeing, I get a little bit disappointed. What I love about this community, well, another thing is that, through some hard times throughout the year, with teaching, I have reached out and I've kind of had to slack off maybe on my business during the day. But the team and the community is always here for me and for us. So whether I was doing a little bit or a lot, they were here to support me, to check in, to invite me to events, to encourage me to be on Lunch and Learn, or to speak on an event. And that's important. That support is there for you to reach your goals. So after getting more team, my ultimate goal, as I said before, would be to see if maybe I could retire out of the school system. Because as I said, it is difficult. And there are days that I literally stand there and I just want to cry.
Mm-hmm.
But coming home, sometimes when we have a team meeting, or there are these events that I want to plug into, I'll sit here, with Jules and Bridget and Melissa and Kim and Karen when we're on our team meetings, and it comforts me, and that agitated, stressed tension that's in my body relaxes.
Wow.
And I just enjoy the time with all of you, and I am really, really thankful that I was encouraged to take this step.
Wow.
That's
great.
And does anyone have any comments or questions for Jennifer? Because I think we're going to transition. She really shared a lot. And thanks for sharing your heart. I know that was difficult too. We appreciate you. Any comments or questions for Jennifer?
You guys can unmute if you want and
Mhm.
share with her, or you can put it in the chat. Julie said, how beautiful. Julie, I'm coming over to you next. And Dana's on. Great. You know, Dana was one of the inspirations for this whole call. So thank you, Dana.
Mhm.
So it's great. It's amazing. It is amazing, Jennifer, how this community works and supports each other and sticks together. And it's just a beautiful thing. Julie Herbst is actually the person that shared Juice Plus with us. Actually, she shared Juice Plus with Sharon. And, you know, I was like on a 10-year delay. You know, it's I have this condition called being a man. It takes us a while sometimes, but eventually, if you're patient with us, we get it. Okay. Some faster than others. But I want to hop over to Julie. And because Julie's a former teacher too. Like I said, we were all teachers, and I can't believe this sometimes because I didn't know you at the time, but I do remember Joel talking about, I think, like liking you or going out on a date and stuff like that. But tell us a little bit about you, Julie, and just, I mean, most people on here know you, but we do have a few guests. But if you just want to do, you know, go over a little bit about, you know, what made sense to you, why you started sharing, and what has this done for you and your family?
And also the teacher stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's so great to be here with all of you. And Jennifer, that was just great to hear. I understand the emotion too. I get emotional about this also. I taught school for 13 years and I was actually teaching when I learned about Juice Plus. My sister introduced me and she was a teacher. Actually, my dad encouraged me and my sisters to all become teachers because, you know, he said it's the perfect job for a mom. It's a safe job. You get benefits. You're home in the summer. The only piece my dad was missing was the flexibility piece, like between kindergarten and I mean, preschool and like when they went to kindergarten. So, you know, it kind of dawned on me when I had my first baby that, wait a minute, he missed that piece. And now I have to decide, do I want to go back to work or not? But anyway, let me go back again. I was single when I'm sorry, Joel and I had just gotten married when I learned about Juice Plus. We got married in January. My sister told me about Juice Plus in March. And it made sense to me right away, not for me, because I thought I was really super fit and healthy, kind of like Jennifer, did aerobics all the time, worked out. But Joel had gained 100 pounds as a high school principal. And Joel was a teacher too, but he, you know, gradually went into administration and he was working really hard at his school. And I was so worried about him. I didn't want to nag him as a new wife. So I bought Juice Plus for him right away. And I became more curious about it. And you know, what I love so much is the education that we give, because you guys really sharing Juice Plus is like being a teacher. That's what I meant in the chat. I just kind of transitioned from having to go to school every day to teaching this. And I loved the education that this company provided. When I listened to this information the first time, I'm like, I knew fruits and vegetables were good for me, but I didn't know why. I didn't know about oxidative stress and antioxidants and phytonutrients. And now I do. Now I get that. And I bet a lot of other people don't know that either. So that's kind of what started to happen is I got started on Juice Plus and I also had a change. I also started experiencing sustained energy. Like Jennifer said, that afternoon lull went away and I was like, wow. And then I started sleeping better. I literally, by the time I got done taking Juice Plus for a few months, I was like, oh my goodness, I wasn't very healthy. I thought I was, but I had a lot of gaps in my health and it just kept getting better and better. And I would, at school, the teachers would be like, Julie, did you change your makeup? Because your face looks different. And I, you know, at first I would say that's a little mean, but yes, I started taking Juice Plus. I didn't change my makeup and they're like, what's that? So it just became very natural for me to share it at work. Teachers tell each other everything. We want to know what each other eat, where we get our, you know, hair done, that kind of stuff. So it just was natural for me to share. And it becomes a domino effect in your little circles in your life. And that's what happened. They started wanting it. I was thinking about this today because I know I was going to share tonight. I have some of those same teachers that became customers right at the beginning that have taken their Juice Plus for 23 years with me and Sharon. They wouldn't let go of it. I mean, that's just kind of the experience. So I know my answer is a little long, but I just naturally started talking about it. That's why I became a partner. And I was teaching. I was also a personal trainer and teaching fitness classes. So I was super busy. I didn't take Juice Plus seriously for the first year and a half. But you know what's really cool about that, you guys? You can do it alongside your life, because I gradually just kept going to the next commission level. I wasn't even taking it seriously. I wasn't being intentional, but all I was doing was sharing, and I learned how to do a little bit of customer care. And I went to the first step, and then the second, and then the third. And I was at the highest commission level by accident. Honestly, by accident. I was just kind of talking and it was just happening. But that's the beauty of our business, is there's no pressure. You can do it alongside your life. And that's what was so cool. But it wasn't until I had my first baby, my daughter, that I really had to sit back and say, okay, what is this going to look like now? And it's a long story, but I attended an event like we're on right now, not virtually, of course, that was back then, but I listened to a nurse share. And when she talked about Juice Plus that night, I heard a lot of teacher things in my mind. I was scared of selling, and that's kind of where I was stuck. I didn't think I could do Juice Plus because I didn't want to be a salesperson. What I didn't realize was this is really about education, and this is really about caring about other people. It's so much like teaching, because that's what we do. We care about people, and that's why we go into teaching. And then we want to help people clearly understand things. And like I said, that's what I started to do. So I just began. And that night, what's kind of interesting was that event was at my home. And I want to tell you the funniest story about that night. I was in my chair here, scared of selling, but I was listening, and I was hearing things like, Juice Plus is like a gift. It has a red bow on it in my mind when I share. And those things resonated with me and helped to pull me out of this scared of selling mindset into, wow, this is education. I can do this. I can do this. But the funniest part about the night, you guys, was that my husband was there, because it actually was at my house. And that's another story for another time. The only thing Joel heard that night was he heard the speaker. She's a nurse. We're part of her team. Her name is Wendy Campbell. He overheard her tell someone that she was making $26,000 a month. Okay, that's the only thing my husband remembers about that night. I didn't know he heard that. So everybody leaves our house that night, and I looked at him, I said, I love Juice Plus. I loved that tonight. And I'm going to actually try to do this business because I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And he goes, yes, I want you to do the business too. And we had a really good laugh. But you guys, I can honestly say, and I don't usually really talk about this, but that's what beginning teachers were making in a year at that time. Okay. And this nurse was making that in a month. Now, this is not a get rich quick, and that took her a while to do. Actually, she was working for about 10 years with Juice Plus at that time. But that gave me vision. And I was like, wow, what if I could even just make $5,000 a month? That would be like a game changer for us, because I was only making $26,000 a year. And so at the time, that gave me a little bit of vision. That gave my husband a lot of vision. And he said, Julie, you're never going to make that kind of income, but just go ahead and try to make your car payment. Well, you guys, I've surpassed that. And it's just the most exciting thing to say that, because as I began to learn how to do this business, and we have a whole system in place, you know what? I started realizing, oh my goodness, I can make money. I can create income. I can have my own business. I can be rich. And, and as a teacher, that's a sacrifice. You have to go into teaching because you love it. It's just like going in to be a nurse. You have to love it. And of course, I did love it. I love those kids. I still talk to all those kids. But, there isn't money in the teaching. And isn't that sad? We should change that in our country. But it's still a reality that it's not there. But if you still love teaching, you can build this alongside and build another income stream, like Doug was saying. Or maybe you get to a point where Jennifer is, where you can see, oh my goodness, I don't have to go to 30 years. I think I might be able to fill that gap in. And wow, you guys, you can fill the gap in. You honestly can. So I'll stop talking unless you want me. I have a couple more things to share, but I don't want to take too much time.
Well, you're going to have time to share, because we're going to get into more practical, like what to do, and then a little bit of vision at the end. We're going to have you share. But go ahead, Sharon.
Well, I just want to comment a couple of things because I was a former guidance counselor and I was one of Julie's first partners that she introduced Juice Plus to. And I've helped lots of people with the Juice Plus business. And I just think teachers are perfect for this because they have the heart, they have the want to help people, which is what, I wanted also. And it really helped me to have that caring heart in this business. And then I love that one of my team members who was a teacher, she said, it's like the same lesson plan over and over. I know Julie calls it wash, rinse, repeat, but I love that teachers can also think, oh, you're just doing the same lesson plan over and over because it's a system, and so it's not difficult. It's easy to share alongside whatever you're doing. And I love that Jennifer said, it kind of refreshes her. The community is really, really good for you. You learn so much that helps your whole life. And I'll just add a couple more things and we'll get back to you, Julie. But for me, building this business, it was great to be able to say to my husband, who was moving from band director to assistant principal to leader or director of a school of worship, each time he transitioned, it was like, don't worry, I got this thing and it's getting better and better and better. And it's helping to fill the gaps and give us more and more security as you and I want you to transition to a better life, quality of life in teaching. And then finally, to even leave the school system for which he had a pension growing, to make that decision to go to an even better thing and then an even better thing. So it's been something that, at first just started off as like rebate money, but then it was like, oh, this can become a passion because we all want to be healthy. We all want to help people and we all talk to people all day long. Why not include something important? And so over time, it just became something that was natural to share and to build, and then helps him, even though he wasn't really involved for a while. So it all worked out really nicely.
Like, it's not like a clear-cut picture, like, oh, if you work this business, then you retire. It's like sometimes it just gives you options.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a partner on our team that puts all of her Juice Plus paycheck into a certain fund for vacations.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done some really cool vacations. Some people like to get a car, other people, whatever. But for us, I was able to, I'm sitting there at 15-year mark in the school system, accepted into the principal intern program so I can get a school and the whole deal. But it's like, I got 15 years left till the first part of retirement. Then usually you extend another 5 years. And it's like, I have this other option to go do something I'm really passionate about but I'm gonna have to walk away from my pension. How can I do that? Let me just stick with this and get my pension. And then I'm thinking, it's like, that's 15 years. That's a lot. That's like a prison sentence or something, right? I want to live my life on my terms. And that's what this has really afforded us, to make decisions we wouldn't usually do. Decisions that people said, I'm crazy. What are you, crazy? Yeah. You're going to walk away from your retirement? Do you know what the retirement is for a principal? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, whatever. I'm at retirement age.
I said, no, this is our retirement.
Yeah, this is our retirement. I mean, I dare my friends to call up and say, hey, Farrar, I'm retired now. I'll be like, how much was your check? And they'll say like, oh yeah, I got a check for like $3,000 this month. And I'll be like, that was my car repair this week. Actually, I wish it's more. It's a terrible car repair. Anyway, so yeah.
Let's get back to Julie on her couple closing things. And then we're going to call on Dana because she was kind of the impetus. She's coming out of the end of the school year and she is ready to rock and roll, sharing with people and taking this business seriously on a more daily basis. And, maybe we need some tips on how to do that on a daily basis for teachers too. So Julie, go ahead and
finish some of your, some of your thoughts. Go ahead.
One of the things that I wanted to pick up on that you just said was, what we've learned, because we've really broadened our mind financially with this, is that you really want your money to work for you. That's honestly where you want to get to. And I think one of the very first books I read opened my eyes to the beauty of this business. It was Robert Kiyosaki's The Business of the 21st Century. So if you guys can write that down and get that book, what I learned in that book was that as a school teacher, I was an employee. And what I wanted to do was cross over to become a business owner. A lot of teachers and, people who work in the school system, they wait until they're retired to go into that, but you don't have to wait until the end. You want to start to create that business now because it gives you options, but it also allows you to start to get extra money together, you guys, to invest. When you can invest and get your money working for you, that's the key to really being able to relax financially. So I wanted to throw that in, and we could talk about that later. But I also needed to get this going. Okay, so I made the decision to stay home. I started to become teachable, and it was so uncomfortable, you guys. I just have to tell you, it's not like we went to school for this. I had to learn how to pick the phone up and actually do some uncomfortable things. But honestly, if you're going to be a business owner, it's going to be hard. I mean, all business owners have an uphill battle until they get it going, but you can get it going and we'll help you. So you just have to begin to do the activities. And we have a lesson plan and we'll teach it to you, but it's basically talking to people, sharing Juice Plus, your excitement, giving them an educational tool. And then you've got to follow up with them. And that was really uncomfortable for me, but I was like, do it, Julie. You have to do that to build the business. So I did it. I learned how to follow up. It started becoming my favorite part of the business because that's where lives change. It's because you call one more time, you text one more time, and all of a sudden you have a teacher crying because she's able to retire, early or something like that. And it doesn't always turn into that, but a lot of times it does, you guys. Or it's just a family whose life changes because of you've shared Juice Plus with them and their children got better, whatever it is. So you've got to do the activities. And then this creates options. And I'm just going to tell you the really cool part of our story is Joel and I were both educators. Like I said, we had a ceiling on how much we were ever going to earn. But as I began to build this business, I started seeing the pressure lift off my husband. He's such a hard worker. He loves education, but he felt trapped in education. He was working all the time and he wasn't with his own children. He loves other kids. He loves to serve other kids. But that's where his whole heart was having to go because he was so overwhelmed. And as my paycheck started growing and growing and growing, Joel started watching. And even in the summertime, I remember he'd always buy the kids these summer workbooks. And I could just see he was more drawn toward his own kids. He wanted to invest in them more. And there was the day came when he got to take that opportunity. He was supposed to be applying to become the superintendent in the 6th largest school district in the country. That's where we all worked, in Broward County, Florida. And Joel was on track to become the superintendent, and he was going downtown to turn his application in. And it was a rough day because I was like, I know he's going to be a great superintendent, but we're never going to see him. And he called me, and I get choked up all the time, but he said, Julie, I'm not going to turn this application in because I don't have to. Because of what we have done with Juice Plus, I don't have to do this. I don't want to be a superintendent. I don't even want to work in this district anymore. I want to come home and be with my kids. That day, I think about that day all the time, you guys, because we've had all these years. And I don't think that ever would have happened if we had not said yes to Juice Plus. So what will it be for you, down the road? It's going to allow you to have options too, or maybe your spouse that you don't even know feels trapped at the moment. It's going to create some really neat options. And we've been able to say yes a lot to our kids to do really unbelievable things that we probably never would have had the money to do. So there's so much more I could share, but this has been a blessing all the way around.
Well, that story never gets old, Julie.
Right.
It's
and we've
great.
loved seeing those dreams come true.
And we've lived it with you guys. And yes. So we often say, in order to be successful in this, you need to be hungry, teachable, and willing to work. So Julie's kind of talking about some of that stuff, but as I'm thinking about hungry, I don't know if hungry is really what we feel initially. I don't think Julie was hungry. What happens first is you get vision. That's why we're talking about this stuff. Once you have vision, then you want it. And the more you want it, the hungry you are to get it. So what she was talking about is sharing. All she was doing was sharing, following up, and that's what's going to get you to having those options. So we have to begin. One of the habits of successful people is to begin with the end in mind. So when you get vision for this and you say, you know what, this makes sense. And this isn't like something that, oh, only Julie Herbst gets to do this, or Doug and Sharon or whatever. It's like, no, we had vision, and then we sacrificed a little bit and made time for this. Okay, we made some time, and then we were consistent and we worked at it, and then miracles happen. All of a sudden there's people there. Jennifer, there are people joining your team. People are going to join your team. I would follow you.
You've got a great team.
And you're
too.
consistent, and you do have a team, and you're building a team, and you never know when the next Sharon Farrar is going to come. What about the person that signed up, Julie Herbst? I mean, how would you like to be that person, right? There's more Julie Herbst out there. I mean, she's impressive, but there's other people that are equally impressive out there. You know what I mean? So it's all doable, and you guys can all do this. Sharon, I'm gonna throw it over to you.
Right. We're just going to ask really quickly, Dana, because we're getting to tips and things. So just tell us about your excitement transitioning from the end of the school year into being home with the kids and working this business and working on your health, I'm sure, things like that, because I know it takes a toll teaching.
Well, I will say that I have had my Juice Plus every morning and every afternoon as I went back to the classroom teaching fourth grade language arts, which I absolutely love. And I'm just so glad I had it with me. It always keeps me energized. My kids enjoy Juice Plus in the morning and in the evenings before bed. My 2-year-old son is asking for Juice Plus before he goes to sleep. And my kids just really enjoy it. And it just seems like, you know, people just look at you and they notice that there's something special about you, and they're just trying to figure out what is that glow going on. That's how I feel. And it's the Juice Plus. I feel like it's changed my whole palate. I would rather eat fruits and vegetables and salad and spinach and kale over junk food any day. So I'm just thrilled that, you know, as I pack my lunch in the morning, you know, it's super healthy. My breakfasts are super healthy in the morning because that's all I feel like eating. I only want to eat healthy foods. And even when I come home from work after a long day, I only want to eat healthy foods. When I'm grading papers and, you know, doing the grades, you know, I have my Juice Plus there, and, you know, it just comes up in conversation. And I'm not trying to sell anything, but it just happens to come out that I love Juice Plus, and people are curious about it. And I actually was able to share Juice Plus with one of my colleagues, and now I have 2 more colleagues that are interested. So I am going to invest in some additional samples, and I am going to have one of those salad parties coming up soon. I think that would be really fun, to have some colleagues over and talk about Juice Plus. And so I'm so inspired by everybody's story tonight. And I'm just thrilled about the Lunch and Learn After Dark. I think that's awesome for teachers. So I'm really looking forward to using this summer to invest in a tower garden. I'm inspired by all of the kale and everything that you're growing, Doug and Sharon, on Facebook. I'm just amazed at this tower garden. I got to get this going.
You got to get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
Really?
give
Well,
you
that's
some
awesome.
time for some tips. We're going to go to Jules and then
Sure.
Julie.
Yeah.
Right? Jules,
Sounds
she's been in the ready. Let's hear from
Well,
Jules.
Jules is not a teacher, but she's not in the classroom, but she's a personal trainer, and she's a busy mom. And I know we have a lot of people on here. Maybe they're not a teacher. Maybe you have a regular job, or maybe you're a mom that's busy or whatever. The tips are going to be, everybody's busy. Okay.
Mhm.
Everybody's busy. So we're all fitting this in somehow. So Jules has she's had a lot of great success, and I know she's a great teacher. So Jules, let's hear some tips for people that
Yes.
are busy, how to squeeze it in.
Okay, so I, yes, definitely busy. I have 3 kids under the age of 9 right now, but I have done this business for 14 years. So at one point, I was doing this business with 3 kids under the age of 4. And so I have done this business in very busy seasons of life. And so I think the best tips that I have to do this business alongside your teaching career is obviously to set a schedule or to chunk time out to be able to do this business. And as summer approaches, a lot of teachers are going to have a lot more free time. And so this is why this is the perfect business for teachers, because they have 3 months off where most of the time they're not working at all. And you can build a really solid business in 3 months time. And then when you have to go back to school, you might have to take a step back a little bit. Like Jen says, sometimes she has to step back. But I would say to have a schedule. And I've been doing a lot of research lately on scheduling and trying to schedule our summer. And I know that when we have a schedule, there's a lot more peace and there's a lot less chaos. And so I would say, if you're a teacher, take the summer. And I know most of my teacher friends love to schedule. So take out your calendar and just plan some time where you can fit this business in. Because to be honest, it's not the huge chunks of time that make this business work. It's the small, consistent activity that you do over and over again. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, 20 to 30 minutes a day, while not seem like a lot, if you do it consistently, meaning every day, then it can really build this business. And to stay plugged in, we have events like this all the time. And our team is amazing at taking our community and just hugging you whenever and wherever you need it. And so plug in, there's conference calls, there's Zoom calls, there's Voxer chats. There's so many ways for you to get inspired, encouraged, motivated, educated. There's really no excuses. And so I think those would be my 2 biggest tips for teachers wanting to do the business. And start now, because you don't want to wait.
That's awesome. I love
Thanks,
that, Jules. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go to Julie for any tips for teachers or anyone home over the summer that maybe hasn't been, or now the kids are home. Oh my goodness. And I know you have a whole webinar that we can send people to watch that. But as you think of teachers mostly, let's think of anything, just a couple of quick tips, and then we'll go back to Doug.
Yes, and it's very much like in stolen moments. I mean, if your kids are in camp, I mean, you just have to kind of look at your schedule. If your kids are going to camp or something like that, you can block out some time. And if you have uninterrupted time for a little while, that's great. But you can also work this in stolen moments alongside the day. A lot of what we're doing is making a quick phone call here, making a quick phone call there. Once you get the kids into bed at night. So pretty much what I tried to do was I just worked in stolen moments around small children at home. That's really the bulk of when I built my business. And I learned how to kind of go back and forth, do a little bit of work. Let's go outside and play in the hose. Okay, let's do a little bit more work. Let's go do bubbles. Let's do a little bit of work. Oh, like Jules said, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Oh my goodness, that's how you can build this business. And ultimately, if you can have a little chunk during the summer, like I said, like if they're going to camp every day and you can really, really block off some time to diligently do this business, it's just the same activities, you guys, over and over and over. The more people you talk to, and you're going to get no, that's why you have to talk to more people, because it takes a while. And there's a statistic that says, most people say yes on the 4th or 5th time. So not everybody's going to say yes on the first time. So you have to just become really patient, and teachers are patient.
Yeah.
You already have that. Just become patient and diligent. And that's what builds this business, is you just continue to follow up with people. Persistent, lovingly persistent is a good way to put it, because we don't hound people or, run around trying to hit them over the head. We just gently continue to invite them in to the education, to watching, to wanting. And, remember things like Juice Plus is free for children. Get some things that make it so exciting to share in your heart. And that's what I needed to do. I also had to settle a couple of things. What if somebody says, Julie, are you trying to sell me something? That scared me. I didn't want anybody thinking that. I was just going to say, oh my goodness, you don't have to get it from me. You can get it from my friend Jules, or you can go to juiceplus.com and just order it. But I never had to say that, you guys. I just had to have that ready. And another good thing to say is, you know, I would never want you to say, Julie, you knew about this. You knew my kids could get this free. You knew about all this research and you never told me. So do you have a couple minutes for me to tell you about this? Because I just love it. Let it come from your heart, you guys. That's the best way to share this. And then you're diligent with the follow-up and you plug into the events and all of that too. So you can get so much done in the summer. You could really honestly get to the highest commission level if you're brand new and you're starting right now. By the time you go back to school, you can be at the highest commission level. You absolutely can do that in the summer and even beyond that, and get such a good momentum going. And momentum in this business is you just keep doing that consistent activity, regardless of the results. Don't worry about no, don't worry about, oh, you know, this happened or they canceled, they started and they canceled. If I would have gotten discouraged with when that happened, I would never have made it. So it's okay. A lot of times those people came back. That's what I saw, but many times it was okay. I just kept going. And so anyway, good.
That's awesome. Thank you, Julie. And thank you everybody for that spoke tonight. So if you're excited, you know, hey, we're going to do this again next Wednesday night for teachers. Again, we'll have some, I'm sure it'll be different because it's pretty much improvised, and we'll have some different people on, and it'll be great. So you can invite your teacher friends or maybe some teacher partners in the business. You want them to be on here. If you got excited, remember, stay connected to your leaders. They can guide you. Make sure Sharon had a good point to me on while she was talking. That was to make sure that you're Facebook friends with all the teachers at your school, because you're going to be doing stuff, especially if you're excited. Not all of them, but the people you're friends with.
The ones that you're friends with.
When you're doing the shred this summer, they'll see what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So remember, begin with the end in mind. Have vision for what you would want to see happen with this business, and then just start doing some of the things that we're talking about tonight.
Mhm.
And it's going to create something that we had no idea. But this has literally altered not only our lives, but our children's lives. Do you know that our children can inherit this business? Like, imagine if your parents had a business that was producing multiple six-figure salaries and they just someday it becomes yours. That's pretty cool. I feel like now I'm building a legacy, not just going to work every day. So it's pretty awesome. All right. So thanks again for coming on, everybody. We have our regular Lunch and Learn on Friday at noon. That'll be streamed into our Facebook group. You can check it out there. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we're not sure about Monday. That's Memorial Day, right? So we can, okay, canceling Memorial Day. All
We're
right,
making
so
the
you guys
call.
know, canceling Monday. Enjoy your beach and picnic time, but we'll see you Friday at 12. All right.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Love seeing you.
Great job, everyone.
Yes, wonderful.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night. I can't even figure out how to end.
I
You
got
do
it.
it.
Thanks, guys. That was a great call.
Oh,
Good.
good.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Beth.
Yeah.
Great to see you guys on here. Bye-bye.